Yesterday, this was interesting. We had a story from a TV station, KREM. Where is it?
Spokane, Washington.
Okay.
And we've heard from people who have lived in that area that they actually pronounce it creme. They say it like a word.
Well, I wondered about that.
Creme 2.
So they're on Creme 2, and one of the...
Okay.
What happened was, the reason we even brought it up is they made somewhat headlines nationally because they cut to their meteorologist, a female, and over her left shoulder is a big map of the country, and over her right shoulder is a little box. You know how TV does. And presumably without her knowledge, pornographic videotape was running.
Oh, Lord.
Right.
Yeah, oh, Lord.
Right. 13 seconds worth, I think.
Exactly.
Okay.
They timed it.
And they apologized profusely, of course. They got a lot of people watching. Creme 2 were stunned by this. And the meteorologist didn't say a word about it because she didn't even apparently know. It's just rolling over her.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be hot and sunny. Yeah, it is.
So yesterday, we had our own meteorologist, Dave Aiken, in here, and we were discussing, now, how could something like this happen? Could a hacker get in from the outside? And Dave seemed to think no.
He seemed to think this was an inside job.
Maybe the director had his laptop up or whatever and hit the wrong thing somehow. Maybe, who knows what happened. But anyway, it got on the screen. We didn't see it. That was the thing. Yesterday, we looked for it. It's like, well, let's see what we're talking about here.
As journalists.
We're journalists, and we didn't see it. And so what I saw was still shots of her sitting there with just the map. They didn't even show. This is like what it usually looks like.
No, all we heard was woman's bare backside.
Yeah, that was the description of it. It's a woman's bare backside. So I thought maybe it was fairly tasteful with just like a little silhouetted nude from the back, you know. Well,
kind of artsy.
Yeah. I thought, well, how bad could it really be? Well,
we found out.
Okay. We did some digging.
As journalists.
About, over an hour ago. Now we're in the wee hours, the small hours of the morning. Chris Demm says, I got that porn.
You're going to want to see this.
Set aside 13 seconds.
Chris Demm said, do you have 13 seconds to spare? Yeah, I can.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I can give you 13 seconds. So I turned to him. He shows it to me. Let me tell you, it was graphic. It was really graphic. It is.
We all have fetishes.
It is really. And the poor meteorologist is just like what you just did. He's like, we got a storm front coming
nice
through.
Week ahead after the rain moves through.
And all this.
Oh, yeah.
All that's so we watched just like, as journalists. Mm-hmm. And then, my reaction to it was, my God, look at that's really hardcore.
Yeah.
That's really getting up in it. You know what I mean? Like there's a hand and everything.
Right. There's no male members, just a male hand.
Male hand, but doing things
to a female body.
Right. For 13 seconds. Well, Chris Demm, again, small hours of the morning here. This is a couple of hours ago. We're talking 4:45 a.m. Eastern. And Chris Demm sends out the images to Biggie and to Dave Aiken, our own meteorologist. And within seconds, I thought Dave was asleep. Within seconds, he comes back. Yeah!
I wish that would happen to me. No.
Is that the weather chick?
That was my...
Someone check her pajama drawer. What?
First of all, your email doesn't ping that much at 4:45 a.m. Ding! What? Oh, Dave's awake. Oh, look what he's saying. Oh, God. Oh, Dave.
Oh, God.
Dirty.
What? I don't think he ever sleeps. I don't think that. He's always, he's just, anytime you email him, bing, he's right back up with it, you know? Mm-hmm. And immediately he's like, yeah! And wonder if that's her. How a man's mind works. I never thought, could that be the meteorologist? Yeah. Is that her?
Her homemade video get up there? Wouldn't that be scandalous?
Yeah.
Now, you would think.
That is scandalous.
You would think heads would be rolling before the end of the month.
Yeah.
Yes.
At Creme 2.
And I'm going to tell you.
It sounds dirty.
I know. It's like, that's a dirty sounding news name.
That video, too, looks very homemade,
Yes.
like with a
Yes.
cell phone camera.
Yeah.
And I would look at whoever's job it was to upload the weather images.
Well, that's where you start.
Yeah, because to me, that's coming off of somebody's probably like little USB drive they have that they saved and just uploaded, which happens.
Yep.
Uploaded the wrong video.
Sure looks like it to me.
And that looks very homemade because that's with like a cell phone light. And he's like, yeah.
Yeah.
He's lifting to take a look, if you know what I mean.
All right,
That's the thing. When the hand comes, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
no, what are you doing? What's going on here?
Well,
What's
it's
he
kind of,
doing?
at first you see it over her shoulder, and you're like, well, what's that video clip of?
Yeah.
And then it zooms,
Yeah.
it cuts to full screen. And
Wait,
there's
she's
his
not
hand.
wearing pants.
That's right. That's right. And I really thought from the description of it, this is going to be tasteful. It's not going to be that big a deal. It is a big deal, and it's not tasteful. And Dave was like celebrating it, like, oh, yeah, I love it. You know, he wants it to be over his shoulder and all that kind of thing when he's doing the news. So that I wanted to update that. Now, all that got me thinking. Yesterday we were talking a little about this. I've got some pornography at home on DVD, and it's a couple of college students from North Carolina State. Got the DVD 18 years ago. Put it in the sock drawer. And I got a little worried about that.
That was a couple of houses ago.
Yeah.
That's right. And I remember all it has written on it is NC State. Because when I got it on the computer, this was in a time where, you know, computers, Napster was out. Okay, so it'll kill your computer if you have it. And it did kill my computer, but somebody sent it to me on DVD and said, enjoy forever. So I kept it on DVD. But now I can't find it. And I did comb the house yesterday looking for it, trying, you know, after something like this. Because you all said that when I die, my kids may find it.
They may just toss it. I mean, if you look at a label like that, but you never know.
Yeah.
How many DVD players are there in your home?
Boy,
I mean, I
not-
guess any real
Any
like
computer,
desktop computer
yeah.
would play it.
Well, what I worry is it has such a generic logo.
NC State.
It just says NC State, which I would probably pop in because I'd be like, oh, what did he say
Cryptic.
from NC State? We weren't NC State fans.
Right.
Yeah.
He might think it's like a sporting event.
Yeah.
My
Is
son
this
may
is
think
this
that.
some type of game? The label is just vague enough.
Yes.
If it said NC State game 94, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, toss.
Really?
But yeah, because it's to me, if it says just NC State, it's like, well,
What is this?
what is this?
Yeah, we have, I think, one DVD player left in the house because
That's hooked up.
because I do. You know, we have a DVD collection. I'm so what an interesting study. It's like I want to show my kid the movie Halloween. Biggie's Halloween movie reviews have taken on a life of their own. I mean, this is something I really want to do it right next year.
Yeah, and people keep saying, which I was thinking, I guess we could do holiday movies.
Yeah, but not the same.
You don't want to
feel.
do it.
Same,
The same
yeah.
feel.
And
Yeah,
don't take
no.
that as a slap when he said, let's do it right next year.
Well, I feel like I've done it right this year, but
Apparently not everybody's in agreement.
I know what he means next year.
Yeah.
Put a little
Ka-ching,
creme too
ka-ching.
on that.
Let's put a little sponsor on this.
Yeah,
thing
he wants
next
some
year.
money on
Let's
it
sell
next
it.
year.
Let's sell it a little bit. Let's get some effects.
Let's sizzle it.
You know, let's get some better clips. Let's
Yeah.
put some sound effects by it. Let's really get into it next year. Really do it right.
Track down cast members and
Exactly.
directors and
Exactly.
writers.
Yeah, let's get into this thing.
You know what's going to happen? It's going to be like a TV show. First season was great.
Yeah,
Second season,
Yeah.
the execs got their hands on it.
right. The suits
Suits got their hands on it.
come in and ruin
Ruined
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just this great little
Yeah.
thing that just was a germ of an idea and it was perfect. And then here come the suits.
Next year, I'll be thanking a dry cleaner.
Exactly right. It's exactly what you're going to be doing.
Don't be afraid of the cold this year.
Right.
Get your winter coats clean.
Yeah.
That's how I said, let's do it right next year. Let's really get into it. Biggie's horror movie reviews have taken on a life. I mean, everybody's talking about his horror movie reviews. Yesterday, he did one called Old that he hated. But today he has Psycho, which is legendary. I mean, that is going to be one. I can't wait to get into it and talk about it. Well, you watched it last night.
Oh, absolutely, I did.
And you hadn't seen it in a long time.
I had not seen it in a long, long time.
That's one that's really big. Now we'll do it in garbage time. That's another thing. Maybe we should move it out of garbage time next year. Maybe. I mean,
Or is that part of the charm? Nobody knows.
It's possible. Yeah.
Well, the problem is that I like to give my review and then you like to take it.
Right. That's why I think it's taken on a life of its own.
Your life.
Yeah. Because I'll say, I didn't, and you'll say, it's great. Biggie, I'll let you finish in a minute.
That's true. Really, it's become me reviewing movies that I haven't seen. That Biggie, or if I have seen, like today, I'm really going to run wild with Psycho.
Oh yeah,
I'm going to run wild with it. We get to the point in the show where we do it, and we have had a story. Now, what we do is we plan to do a quick little review, Biggie's review, in a couple of minutes, and then all of a sudden we're out of time, and we haven't gotten to this story. There's a poor Russian ballet dancer that's died on the job.
We've been trying to honor them for a week.
Teasing it for 7 or 8 days, have yet to get to the story. I thought for sure we'd do it yesterday because the movie was called Old. I thought this is going to take about a minute. We're going to get through it, but I just had a lot to say about it. Even though
you hadn't seen it?
I haven't, and probably
but
won't.
You'd seen Sixth Sense.
Yes, I had. That was it.
So then we went down an M. Night Shyamalan wormhole.
Didn't expect that.
Yeah.
You just don't expect it to come.
I will tell you, I have one movie planned this weekend that I got a message last night that scares me.
Yeah?
It's this movie called Sinister. I'm going to watch it. I have never seen that.
I hear it's really scary.
Exactly. And, I've gotten messages from people, saying, watch this. I got a message last night that was simply, I understand you're going to watch Sinister. Uh-huh. It really messed me up. So much so, I still randomly think of that movie.
Messed you up.
And I'm like, oh no. Like, that's the, most are just, watch this. It's great. It's scary.
Yeah.
This was like, this will mess you up. I'd watch it during the daylight.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
What's the one we saw that was too deep for us, but it has that one scene with the girl?
Hereditary?
Yeah, Hereditary.
Yeah, that was too deep, but man.
There's one thing once in a while I'll just think about it because it's so graphic and, it is just really, it will mess you up. That one scene really messes me up from Hereditary.
Well, that's what I haven't gotten a warning like that yet. I get, it's scary, it's great. This was... It messed me up. It still messes with me. Yep. Be careful.
I have a fantastic list here. This was very interesting to me. It goes along with horror movies, and it's about how we look at monsters, witches, killers, that kind of, because of Hollywood. For instance, this to me was a very interesting one. Witches only have green skin because of the Wizard of Oz. Before that, they were depicted as having orange or red skin. And Wizard of Oz liked that green look, so they went with it, and it was in color for the first time. And so from then on, witches were green.
That's it.
It's all because of that movie. Otherwise, they would not be green.
Yeah.
That's what colored it for us.
Just as a side note, as you all know, the Dems did not get a color television until 1983, so I never knew... that she had green skin.
Right.
And I never knew that the movie changed from black and white to color when they go to Oz.
That's a pretty big thing, too.
Yeah,
that's huge. When it goes
Somebody
color.
could have told me.
Oh, right.
And then it ends black and white, right? Back in the bed, Annie M and all that.
Yeah. Do you know, my daughter and my wife went to see Wicked, which is playing here, which is, of course, a takeoff of Wizard of Oz, and it's playing on stage here. Everybody in our area is talking about Wicked. Oh, it's such a cool thing.
It's a really good production.
It's a great production, and my wife and daughter loved it. My wife cried.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Very emotional. So they watched The Wizard of Oz before, just sort of to prepare. Okay. And I was in the room and watching it as well. And you know what I didn't really realize about The Wizard of Oz is, I guess I did, but I never put two and two together. All the people in black and white, Auntie M and the farm
hands.
They're the scarecrow,
the Tin Man, and the lion.
And I pointed it out to my wife. I was like, that's the scarecrow right there, and there's the lion. And they sort of allude to the fact like the guy is kind of cowardly, won't go into the stalls, and he's cowardly. I was like, well, there it is. There's the foreshadowing. And my wife was like, what?
Wait a minute. She didn't know either.
She didn't know either. I said, yeah.
So you just got her.
I said, yeah, that's a.
I thought she was going to have you leave the room.
No, I said, this is what's going to happen here. They're going to be in Oz.
Yeah, we've not seen the last of these cats.
That's true. That's the way it is. It's really well done. It's a really good movie.
Yeah.
It's better than I only saw it as a kid and was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
It's great. It's a really interesting thing. And when it changes over to color, huge plot point, which Chris Demm totally missed because he has a black and white TV. I like the fact, it looks all fake and everything, like the hills.
You mean Oz?
Oz.
Or Kansas?
Oz. But it doesn't have. I pointed out, that's genius because it doesn't have to look real. It's a fantasy land. It doesn't. Yeah. You never question. Oh, that's a fake hill over there. So.
See, and that's what I've enjoyed about watching these horror movies is I take so much more out of them now.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like when I saw them when I was younger, maybe in the theater,
right?
It was just to go with a group of friends. Mm-hmm. We didn't care about the movie. We were just a group of friends going to the movies. Mm-hmm. And now I'm like, I watch these and I'm like, oh man, this is really good.
That's my influence on you. That's I look deeper.
There's an interesting little going back to Wicked and the Wizard. Sorry, Biggie.
I've given you that. You're welcome. I mean, it's a gift.
Yes.
That you'll have with you for the rest of your life.
As you know from watching The Wizard of Oz, or even if you haven't, you probably have heard of the ruby slippers.
Oh yes,
the red shoes. Yes. Those are the ones that Dorothy wears. She clicks her heels. That takes her back home. Blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. For whatever reason, some friends of mine and I, we've all seen Wicked now. There are no red shoes.
They don't do that?
No, and we think it's because whoever owns the rights to The Wizard of Oz owns the rights to the ruby red shoes.
That's probably true.
The slippers are silver.
Oh, are they? Silver in
Yeah, because, there are the witches.
Yeah.
They're the Wicked Witch of the East,
Glinda,
the Wicked Witch of the West. They're both characters in Wicked, and she doesn't wear red shoes. She wears silver shoes.
Is that right?
And we think it's because that's like either copyrighted or trademarked, and they didn't get the rights.
Oh, that's probably true. And they're major characters, the witches.
But she's green. I mean, the character is a green witch.
Yeah.
But they didn't get the shoes.
I also read that in the original Wizard of Oz, the woman who played the witch, who's also in the black and white part earlier.
Oh, is she?
Oh, yeah.
She's the neighbor who comes over and steals Toto. Mm-hmm. She's like, Toto's messing in my garden.
I haven't seen that in forever.
And I hadn't either. And she takes Toto away. And because Toto's
your little dog.
And your little dog. Mm-hmm. And she basically says that in the previous thing. It's really interesting.
That movie almost ruined her life for like 30 years.
Right.
Children were terrified of her.
And she had a physical thing. They put the green makeup on her, and it was very difficult to get off. It really hurt her skin. She had problems with that, and then the children hated her because she played the Wicked Witch.
And remember, they cast Buddy Ebsen to be the Tin Man first.
Yep.
Who was on the Beverly Hillbillies. They painted him silver, and that almost killed him.
That's right.
Yeah. Back then, it was just like, we got green paint.
We got silver paint? Yeah, paint him silver, paint her green.
Yeah. There was no...
the paint's killing them.
Yeah.
But to me, that's the sacrifice for your art.
She can't get out of her trailer. She's so sick. I don't know.
Buddy can't breathe.
Bring him out here. I mean, we don't need...
He's passed out.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like, he wussed out and didn't do the role. They gave it to somebody else. He had some sort of condition. Yes, they painted him silver.
Like his pores shut down.
Yeah.
So they said, all right, let's get a new Tin Man and just use makeup.
Yep. They did. They nearly shut him down. Exactly. The other thing is vampires getting burned by sunlight didn't exist until Bram Stoker's they didn't exist until Nosferatu. They were the first to do that. The Bram Stoker version of Dracula didn't do that kind of thing. So anyway, these are movies that sort of change the way you think about them.
But that was Nosferatu. That was the 20s.
The 20s, yeah. They were the first to do it. Before that, there was none of that. But it's been a long time, obviously. Mm-hmm. Zombies eating brains was first shown in Return of the Living Dead in 1985. Oh. They do it because it eases the pain of being dead. That's what one of the zombies says in the movie. And
zombies talk?
Yep, in that movie, somehow, or maybe an expert says in the movie.
They usually don't talk.
No, they never do. You're right. But they eat brains in that movie. And Frankenstein's monster has bolts in the neck added in the 1931 movie to show his connection to electricity. It's not written in that way in the novel. They did it in the movie, like just for a prop. Metal nubs are actually electrodes, but people call them bolts, and that's why they put them there. So the monster wasn't written to have that. It's all that movie stuff that has changed. And I knew media guy Craig will weigh in on this. And he's here now to talk about The Wizard of Oz. Media guy Craig, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I wanted to add to the Margaret Hamilton, the Wicked Witch. She also got badly burned when the character gets burned at the end of the movie, when she goes up in the ball of flame.
Really?
And she ended up in the hospital for months. And then, but she finished out her career as the Maxwell House woman in the 70s.
Was she the Maxwell?
She was elderly, but you knew who she was.
God, I barely remember that.
She was the kindly grandmotherly figure at that point.
Yes, and she played the Wicked Witch. And did she regret taking the role because of all those physical problems and because kids didn't like her after that?
Well, I read pieces from her son, and he did say that she had a problem bouncing back from it, but once kids started to see it on television, they started to embrace her. And so she started to embrace it. And she even made fun of the role in a William Castle movie called 13 Ghosts. She plays the housekeeper, and they have her do a bunch of witch shtick, including broomstick stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
That's cool.
Well, I'll tell you what,
that.
when you think of a witch, it's her.
That's the vision.
She did it. Her voice, everything about it. That's it. Media guy Craig, we have something planned in a more primetime hour of this program. I made an observation about the show Friends that I think will be a year-long quest for us to get the answer. I shared it with Biggie and Chris Demm.
Yeah.
There's one episode
Keeping you up at night.
Yeah, and I want to know how they did something on Friends. Media guy Craig will probably weigh in a little later on this program. Thank you, sir.
You bet.
Absolutely. There he goes.
MTC.
He knows his stuff, media guy Craig. Usually knows it a lot better than we do.
Yeah.
I like how he kind of stopped there at the end. He's not used to you saying bye to him.
Yeah, I usually just cut him off.
Normally just cut him off, and that's why if we run the tape, you're like, thank you, media guy Craig. And he's like, oh, you're welcome.